Hello, everyone. I am Judah Bernard with the Rise Creating Your Voice. I am the wisdom dialoguer and the motivational warrior of the Rise Creating Your Voice podcast. As you see, we are live here today, live, and don't forget to start dropping those badges too as well. You can buy badges right down at the bottom. You click down at the bottom, and if you scroll through, you can actually see those down there. So if you like what you hear tonight, come on in, buy those badges, and let's just keep it real for tonight. Tonight's topic is about pain before pleasure. We're gonna have Jules Mentoring LLC on here, Miss Rhonda, and she's upside down. Look like
Right.
flip that thing up right.
I'm fit too.
So how we doing, everyone? On this Sunday, we are here to drop. This series is going to be called Sunday Jewels on the Rise. We're giving Sunday Jewels on the Rise. And we want to go ahead and introduce our lovely co-host, which is, hey, how you doing, Houston 23? We want to introduce our lovely co-host, which is Miss Rhonda. I want her to tell us about a little bit about herself too as well, and let us know what Jules Mentoring is. Jules Mentoring LLC.
Okay, I am Bessie Sailor Rhonda, and I am the CEO of Jules Mentoring LLC. And Jules Mentoring is a mentoring agency, but I'm also a certified life coach, and I mentor children aged 6 to 17 and life coach 18 and up. And I am located in Tupelo, Mississippi. I am a licensed social worker, and I enjoy what I do.
Now, I understand that you have things that you talk about, Jules. Can you tell us what those acronyms is? And that's capital J, capital E, capital W, capital E, capital L, capital S.
Jules stands for justifying excellent wisdom and examining life situations.
Say that slowly for the people in the back because I want people to understand what you said.
It stands for justifying excellent wisdom. That means you get wisdom from the Word of God. You get wisdom from people who have endured life challenges. Where the wisdom comes from, and examining life situations. So we take that wisdom and then we examine our life situation and see how we can change our perspective and live a life filled with purpose.
Now, who don't do that by just the explanation that she just gave? So we've been talking, mind you, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Me and Miss Rhonda, we don't know each other personally, but we
No.
know each other as far as being co-host. I met her on Saturday.
Yeah.
And we decided to do this live and actually implement this Sunday because I understand that you guys get a lot of things throughout the week, throughout the day, throughout the month. On Sunday, so you can start your week off right. So if you like what you're hearing right now, remember down at the bottom, we do have the badges at the bottom, and go ahead and start dropping your badges on liking the live and things like that too as well. So we want to open up and we want your conversation, and don't forget to start liking and everything else too as well.
Mm-hmm.
We want to talk about why people, and remember the title on here is called Pain Before Pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Why do people, specifically everyone, actually go into a situation or a relationship, and then when you get in there, it changes? So I want to start off with number one, your expectations versus their expectations. What do you say about this, Rhonda?
Well, I think everybody has their own set of expectations. But what happens is we can't hold someone else obligated to our expectations, and we don't have a conversation to let someone know what those expectations are. So for me personally, going into relationships, I was the type that assumed that someone should know, not understanding that people can't read your mind, because in my mind I feel like if you was a certain age or you was in a certain standard or status, then you should know what people need. And so my expectations was one thing, but I also had to understand that people have their own mindsets, and just because that's my expectation doesn't mean that it was the guy's expectation. And so we go into it with unrealistic expectations because we have certain ways that we want things to be performed. And so when we don't get those expectations, we build up our own assumptions of what that is, and then we end up messing up things because of our own assumptions instead of having conversations. But that's how I was anyway.
So I think what we need to understand, because some people think that my expectation would mean that I want somebody to be a certain way or do certain things. And if I don't like it once I'm in a relationship, I start leaving because it doesn't work out as I expected it. But who started from the beginning with the expectation?
I think each individual starts from the beginning with expectations.
Preconceived notions of how this relationship should go.
Right.
As soon as it don't go, or there's a thin line between that love and hate, we run.
Exactly.
Say we don't want it anymore. So my question is, how do we set boundaries, or how do we talk to people to kind of get those expectations out from the beginning?
Well, for me personal experience, what I had to do was the things that I expected from him. I had to understand, am I first giving these things to myself? You can't expect someone to give you something that you can't even give yourself, because you're trying to hold someone accountable to filling a void that you are responsible for filling. And so for me, like, my love language is affirmation of word and quality time. And I would get so upset because I wasn't getting the quality time. And so I had to sit down and face myself and realize, Rhonda, you don't even give yourself quality time. You know, you're always busy. You're always doing this. So before you expect this, or you hold someone obligated to do this for you, you first have to do this for yourself. And then when someone comes into your world and they give it to you, you won't see it as an expectation or something that they're obligated to do. It will be an added blessing to you. Because you can't, like I said before, you can't hold someone to your expectations without a communication and letting them know, you know, this is what I prefer to have, or this is what I like to have. And then if the person gives it to you, then it's a blessing. That's how I see it now. But if they don't, then you have the right to say, well, I'm going to access denied. I don't want to be in this relationship, or I don't want to be in this situation if I can't get what I need. But you can't get upset if you haven't had the conversation. So it's first going to start with a conversation and letting them understand where you are.
So I remember, if I heard you correctly, you said that one thing that you were giving affirmation and giving some other things, and the actuality of you doing this was, number one is that you didn't even give it to yourself first.
No.
So how can someone expect that, but you don't give it to yourself?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I had to learn, because I think for me and other females that I have talked to, we are taught certain things, but people don't tell us the background information on why they expect those things. So we just hear certain things and we go with it, and we don't research it and try to find out those things for ourselves. And so with quality time, you know, men work just as hard as women. And so I didn't understand effective communication, because I never learned how to communicate growing up. I never understood what communication was. And so I had to learn that you have to tell someone what you want. They're not just going to know. You have to tell it. And so when I learned that, and I realized that even if me telling them, I still had to find ways to give it to me first, because you are your first priority. And so if you need those affirmations and you need that quality time, you first have to give it to you. And it's something that a lot of people have to learn because we was not taught.
And I understand that. So now that we know better, how do we communicate it? Because they call me the dialogue coach, and that's what I've been doing. Dialoguer and also a motivational warrior. So I'm doing the podcast and everything, telling people how to create yourself and things like that. But then again, most people don't like to hear truth.
And that's okay if they don't like to hear it. But they're gonna eventually have to face it anyway, because you can't get away from truth. Truth is just what it is. It's truth. So there's no way you're gonna run from it. So either you can hear from someone that you love, or you're gonna have to face the consequences of it, because you're gonna be tried till you understand it. That's the way I feel. So people do get mad at truth, and it's because they're not healed enough to receive it.
Oh, wow. I like it. People don't like correction. No, they don't.
Mm.
And escape the truth. You can't escape the truth, because the truth going to come around regardless of whether you like it. Or the truth going to come. And like I tell people, if the truth don't hit you before you die, it will hit after you're dead.
Yes, it's going to happen, it one way or the other.
Done, done.
So hey, so yeah, you're going to have to face it, and like, people are comfortable in their ways. It's comfortable to stay a certain way, but if you want more, then you're gonna have to do the work to receive more. More requires you to come out of that comfort. It requires you to face some hard truth, and some of those truths gonna bring some tears to your eyes. But hey, where do you want to be? And it all depends on how bad you want change.
But then again, I go back and start people with, where are you now?
True.
And most people start to say, well, I wish I would have done it back when I knew how to do it, but didn't know how to do it then. So how do you start now? Being that people are in their 40s, 70s, they've never heard of this.
You have to make a decision.
How?
It's all about choices and making decisions.
But
And
go ahead.
you go ahead.
Some of those choices are hard for somebody that has behaviorally learned this type of way that's been structured for so long. How do I change at 7? How do I change at 40?
Well, I changed at about 40, and it's because I got tired of being tired. And so you have to have a mindset, and one thing, you're going to have to be around people that wants and is aiming for better. If you're constantly around the same people who not moving forward, then you're going to be okay not moving forward. And so, but if you find someone that speaks life into you, then it's going to set something in you that wants to have more. And so some people are tired of being tired, but they don't know how to do the work. And it's going to start with you just making a decision. I want better. And then you're going to have to ask yourself, how bad do I want it? Because there's no way you can go to better if you don't do the work to heal from your past and your trauma or whatever it was in your life. So you just have to make a decision that you want more. And sometimes it may not be nobody to give you that. Sometimes it's just in your head. This is not the life for me. I don't want to live like this anymore. Why am I stuck? And so you just have to sit down and think about life. Listening to conversations like this where people do want more. They don't want a mediocre life. They want to have something greater. And so this can set fire in somebody to say, look, I don't want to live this life anymore. I'm just working 9 to 5, making $7.25 an hour. I want my own business. And it's just things that we're just going to have to fight for.
Yes, and that's the thing is, somebody said in the chat, to change the environment. Changing the environment.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's the thing is, you just change your environment to be by yourself to actually see what you need to change. Some people don't know that the environment that you're in, you can't change because the environment is holding you down.
Mm-hmm. And that's when you have to make a decision to leave.
It might be something that's not moving you forward.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to, in order to move yourself forward, you have to know what you need to change. And most people don't know how to do that because, number one, like we talked earlier, that some people are always expecting somebody to help them do something.
Yeah.
Or assist them in moving forward.
Yeah. But what if there's no one to do it? Then what do? You can't.
Complacent. That's why we have a lot of complacent people, because sometimes you got to understand from a mindset of some people that my mother or my father has taught me this way of life all the time, and I continue doing it. I keep doing it, and I keep doing it. This was okay. My mother and father never got out of Mississippi, or my mother and father never got out of Texas. So this is what I know. My mother and father never got out of dependent on the government with food stamps and things like that. So this is the only thing I know. So how do we talk to those people that just stay right there and want to be complacent because that has been the behavior that they have learned, and that's the behavior that they're accustomed to?
For me, personally speaking, if I were to encounter someone that I see like that and don't know, my first step would be to try to figure out where they are now,
Mm-hmm.
and understand that we have to reach people where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't reach them from your level, because we have the hierarchy of needs,
Yes.
and so you have to follow the steps of the hierarchy of need for
And
people to
that's
reach
what
it.
they want to know.
So yeah, so
MASLOW''.
so if someone is suffering and they don't have food, they're not thinking about no owning their own business.
Exactly.
Right now, my mind is on, I need a meal. So, okay. So until they get that meal, whatever you talking about high up here, they ain't studying none of that. So, you have to reach people where they are. And so if it's food that they need, you give them food. And as you giving them food, you speak life into them.
Right.
You can have better than this. There's so much more. You begin to plant those seeds. And
Right.
seeds don't grow overnight. It takes time for seeds to grow. And so you just continue to do the work to get them to that place. And then one day, then 2 or 3 months later, you can go back. They got food, but they haven't, so it's time to go to the next level. And you keep working with them until they get to that place. But what I'm beginning to see now, people don't want to work with people that long because they don't want to be of service. But if you think about the work of Christ, what did he do?
He kept going.
He left everything he had to come here to rescue us. He didn't have to do that.
All of us.
Right. And so we really have to understand what service is. Right. Because we have to plant those seeds. Some plant, some water, but God get the harvest, right? And so we may just be a seed planter. We may just stir up the mind to let them know it's better for you out there. Then somebody else gonna come along and water that seed, and they're gonna water it, and that seed gonna grow, and then one day it's just gonna be like a wow.
But then again, we still have to understand, this is the hard part, is that when you have that seed or you plant that seed in that person, most of us, and I have to agree, when I mentored a certain person and we were trying to get them to stop a different thing, and I did the work, but then again, what happens when that growth stops and they become rebellious?
Then you have to allow them to make their decision. You can't force someone to receive the information. You can't make them do it. Your job is to put the information out there, and what they do with it is their business. If we are commissioned or told to say whatever we need to say, then we do it in love. But at the end of the day, the decision that they make for their life is theirs, and we have to be okay with their decision. But behind closed doors, we continue to pray for them. And if they need us in a conversation, we continue to talk to them. But we just don't make them try to do it. That's the way I feel. Because even if it was me, I remember growing up, my grandma used to always tell me, you need to get in the church. You need to get in the church. But I used to tell, when I'm ready to get in the church, grandmama, I get in the church.
Right.
Because right now I know where my mind is. Getting in the church would not benefit me. Mm-hmm. And so when it was time for me to get in the church, I went through a series of issues, but I got in there and I did what I needed to do. So you just have to keep praying and just watering the seeds and just let it grow.
And I like how you said in their due time, but then again, sometimes in parenting and things like that, things are forced.
Mm-hmm.
And even in growing and keep growing and things like that, talking to other children, other parents and things like that, it's a lot of force. When sometimes is it a good force?
Sometimes it can be, sometimes it can't be. But when you get of a certain age, you can't base life on what your parents did. Luckily, I had a mother that didn't force me. But I have had friends where parents did force them, and some it worked for, and some it destroyed, because everybody has their own journey.
Mm-hmm.
I was not a forcer for my children. I told them my story, and when they wanted to do things, I would tell them the consequences of their choices, but I allowed them to make their own choices. Now, when the consequences came, those were your consequences. I can't fight those consequences for
Right.
you. You have to fight that battle.
Right.
Now, am I going to leave you stranded? No. I will help you through it as much as I can. But because you knew better, you have to face what's going on with you. But sometimes when parents force kids to do something, it destroys their lives, and then sometimes it saves them. So it just depends on what the situation is.
All right. I'm glad we had this conversation. Now it's time to flip the script, because
Okay.
I'm going from a feminine and a masculine perspective. So
Okay.
in a relationship, what do you feel that some women expectations are?
I'm going to say personally, I'm not going to speak for all women.
Yes.
This generation, in this day and age, most women glorify I'm so independent.
Oh.
And I'm not saying that that's
Well,
bad.
all the women share your
It,
answer.
yeah.
That's
So,
the woman, right?
that is something that is glorified in a way, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't be so independent and then expect the husband to come in and just
Uh-oh.
um
It's finna go deep.
so and I'm speaking from personal experience, because I was raised with a single mother who was bitter. So her teaching me was, you don't need a man. You get out there, you work, and you make things happen for yourself. That's how she raised me.
Mm-hmm.
And so for years, I thought that's how things went. So I felt like I didn't need a man. There was only one thing I needed him for, and you know what that is.
Right.
So I made my own money. I took
Right.
care of my own children.
Right.
And I had to learn, Rhonda, that's not right. But for most women, we expect a man to provide. We expect a man to protect. But if you're coming with everything that he's supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
what is his task? So we'll say, well, I just need him there. What does being there mean? Because most men are not emotional like women are. They can't, and we just want, and I know this sounds, it's like we kind of just want them up under us all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can't be up under us if they men, because they gonna work. Their first goal is to provide. But to me personally, we have made it so hard for men to be men because we want this independent syndrome.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I think that was last year, it snowed and we were like stuck in the house for like 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, oh Lord. I went through I guess this was a metamorphosis. I don't know what it was. Because it was like I sat in the house literally for those whole 7 days. I did not go out. And it's like things just become hid my spirit. And it was like, women put so much on them that we're not supposed to put on us by wanting to be independent. We are not built to protect. We are not built to provide. But even though there's times we have to do it, that's okay. But you can't expect a man to come into your life if you're not going to let him play his role. When a man enters, you got to back down and let him play his role. But a lot of times women don't want to do that because of fear or what could happen or what they've been taught. But you have to have a willingness to just let that stuff go. But for most women, now these days, I think we more so need more the emotional support.
Okay.
And that's just something that a lot of men don't give.
Okay. So we're gonna have our women that's online to chime in. We're gonna give you 30 seconds to actually say some things that women actually do, or what are their expectations in a relationship? So go ahead and chime in right now. This is your ability right now as we're talking for you to chime in and go ahead and we'll start reading those comments. Definitely go ahead and chime in, my women, my females. Start chiming in and we'll read the comments. Start chiming in. I'm going to give it from a masculine perspective.
Okay.
So, our expectations is, we always, this has been bred even in social media. A woman's supposed to what? Cook, clean, and
right.
cook, clean, and all this other stuff. But then again, I was raised with my father, so my father taught me how to be a provider. Emotionally, I don't have feelings like that. So I cannot emote a lot of feelings towards something because number one, God is my first love and God is my first priority. So I feel like a woman should already come with the joy and the happiness that I need from her. I shouldn't be able to give it to her because if I love her, she already was sent to me by God. So that love should already be known. Because first, God is first priority, God is love, and God deepens or spiritually and heightens the joy within myself. So I'm at the point like, okay, once we connect, we should already have that alignment.
I don't.
Because basically, I feel that women come in and say, I need you mushy. I need you the rainbow Skittles and, I need your love. I need to feel like I'm pretty. I need to, it's all of that. And I'm looking like, but you are pretty. You are this. So why do I have to tell you this?
But what if she doesn't know that? What if you are the one?
Problem. That means you need to heal.
No, that means that you be the one to give it to her.
But that's the thing is, you shouldn't be coming with the expectation I should give you that.
But what if you are the one that's required? What if you are the one that has the assignment to put that in her head to help her grow in that area?
What I'm talking about, the number one is my assignment. I was assigned to do that. But another thing is, if you're already on that path, some people just want to hear it.
Yes, custom reassurance is very important to women.
Why?
Because it just is. It kind of.
You are cute, Stephanie.
You have to. To me, I'm gonna speak personally.
Okay.
Men don't understand how much they can receive from a woman by just constantly reassuring her.
Reassuring you of what?
Like if your girl and she comes in, even though she can know that she's pretty, hearing you say that lights something up in her because it helps her to understand why he sees me.
But okay, and I have to go here for you because my thing is, I'm the type of person that if I go shopping with my, I'm picking out her clothes.
Oh.
I'm the type that my fiance, for our pictures, I dressed her. I went and got her makeup done and all that stuff. Told him how I wanted it.
Okay.
So that's showing you this is how I already see you.
Words mean something to women. Yes, you are doing the physical things, and that is great. But for some reason, women need to hear it.
I hear you.
I'm telling you, if you begin to, especially if her love language is affirmations of words, because that's one of my love
But
languages.
understand, if you're not giving it to yourself, then how do you want somebody else to give it to you?
It's not that she's not giving it to herself.
You don't know that.
Well, I'm speaking personally. Personally.
But the thing, like I said, what we have to understand, we should already come with that from the beginning.
And that's true.
Hold on, they say reassuring a woman's beauty mirror, reassuring a man he is properly taking care of home and leading in the right direction. It's support. I love that. It is support. It's support, but what's the next thing after support when it's constantly needed and it's consistently needed?
I'm telling you, If you want to see a change and those things start clicking in her, start affirming her and giving her those affirmations and watch how your relationship change. I promise
It's
you.
still the same. It's I mean, because it heightens with the I do.
Men are doers, and I get that. But it's and but if a woman is used to doing for herself, the doing doesn't matter. You have to give
But then,
someone.
what is that not a tactic in knocking the man if she because she want to do
No,
it?
it's not a tech. Well, I ain't gonna say it.
You how many times you want it? Because the thing is, now if I'm supposed to feel good because you're telling me I'm doing, but you're already trying to do it for yourself, but you want me to tell you beautiful, it doesn't work like
So what are you willing? What are you willing? You have to give someone what they need. You're giving her what you want her to have.
what's the thing? What's the definition of need? Because every time we say it doesn't mean you need it.
If you have to know what the love language is, and you have to be able to give that person what they need. So if she needs it's not that she can't. It's for me personally, women, whatever. It's not that I'm not giving it to myself. It's not that I can't. But my need is I need affirming. Affirmational word is something that is needed. And I don't know why. It's just I need this. And so if you
So question, this is where I am now. Because you know, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I used to be a therapist.
okay.
So here we are. You have someone that has been traumatized because people used to always call them ugly.
Okay.
Now, is that triggering from something that happened in your past?
Sometimes it is.
And that's what I'm saying. So that's the thing is, if I don't know that about that, the thing is, your expectation has heightened because now you're trying to figure out, does he think I'm ugly? And then y'all go 95 down south and every which way 85 north with y'all minds and questions in y'all head and start analyzing stuff.
So well, my thing is if you know there's something that happened to her,
I don't know. That's what
I'm just saying now this is hypothetical.
I'm saying from that when I was a therapist, that's what a young girl told me.
From in relationship perspective, if you knew that there was something that triggered your significant other, why wouldn't you want to give constant reassurance?
That's the thing is, what if you don't know?
You gonna know because of the way they speak.
No, we don't know. You gotta understand. At the end of the day, if we don't have that conversation and a dialogue about it.
So when it happens, would you ask, why do you keep asking me, am I pretty? Or what?
I don't ask.
Why?
Why should I? I'm with you.
So just hypothetically, if your girlfriend was constantly asking you, am I pretty? Am I pretty? You would never ask her why she asked you that.
You can see you pretty. Why does that have to, what is the next thing after that? Because the thing is, I'm putting on my clothes and I'm looking like, yo, I'm stepping out. That's it for me. I might even be looking tacky that day, but I know I'm still fresh, you know? So my thing is, we all should build that confidence within ourselves.
That's true. But that doesn't mean that she doesn't need it from you.
Well, the thing is, some men need it from the woman.
And that's true. But I think that both of them
balancing that.
I think that like we said before, there has to be a communication, some type of communication to let people know what it is and how we feel and what we need to be loved. Because everybody's definition of love is different. Yes. I don't care what spectrum you come from. Love is different according to how you was raised. Yes. And so everybody don't see love as joy and, you know, the butterflies and some people see love as pain. Yeah. So it has to be a conversation for you to understand, what do I need to feel loved by you? And then you also have, what can I do to love you better?
Right.
And those conversations will help you understand what your mate needs for y'all to move forward. Because, like me, I didn't know how to communicate. I just got mad and shut down and didn't talk no more.
And see, and happens. And I'm gonna read some of the comments. Yes, Queen, we need actions and the words. Women and men should work together in a relationship, and that is so true. Agreed. It has to be a series of agreements, and that's one thing that we don't do is actually have those agreements.
Mm-hmm.
We go in there with expectations of because I feel this way, but
Yep.
I don't know how you feel. I can't measure your feeling. I can't cut you open and know that your measurements is up here with it, but you're all the way up here. Nobody knows that. A man is a woman's safe place. That's why communication of the needs is important in the beginning.
Yes.
You have to be teachable. Oh
yeah.
That's the word. Everybody has to be teachable.
Yes.
Communicate effectively. That is so true. That's the key. And we will receive and give communication differently. Lord help us. Yes, we do. We are not just we are just complicated beings, and patience and communication is key if you desire to grow together. That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, that's why I kept choosing. Why not have the conversation about that to have an understanding? That is true too as well. Having conversation about understanding. Hold each other accountable. That's a good word too as well, because technology has destroyed effective communication.
Yeah.
And that's something that we talked about, that most people love to text their conversation.
I was one of them.
When the other person get mad at what you said. And I try to tell people, you set that tone when you text, so they can perceive it or receive it as you put it out there.
That's true.
You set the tone, and then understand what that content or that language is in that text.
So in this generation, how do we even teach people how to effectively communicate when technology has pretty much just swiped that out the way?
Oh, call the dialogue coach. They can call me if they need. Start teaching people how to have dialogue, because the number one thing is we stop having dialogue. We start texting. We start emotions first, and expecting somebody to get a rise off your emotions. I can't measure your emotions. How can I measure your emotions?
Can't.
And then after I haven't measured your emotion, because that's your expectation, you get upset even more because I'm not paying attention, because I can't measure your emotion.
You hard.
Telling me how you feel. How am I going to know how you feel? But you mad as fire because I haven't said anything, or because I haven't noticed that your hair got done, or you pulled your hair back behind your ear.
Why wouldn't you pay attention to that?
But see, that's the problem. Y'all still don't get it. Mentally, you got to understand, if we keep on moving or doing something, everybody don't notice everything.
That's true.
Everybody don't notice everything. And one thing I heard a young lady said, I can't remember what I was reading, and I'm going to say this thing right quick. Build a friendship to build a foundation.
Yes.
I love that. And that's what I love about me and my fiance. We've been friends for 23 years. That's what it's about, is learning each other.
Yes.
That is a key component to a lot. Most people go into relationships, and as I said, I'm going to play it real safe in saying this. They let people stick their hand in the cookie jar early.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. Then now there are feelings and more emotions that's been emoting, instead of getting to know each other. One other thing I want to say, because of a lady that was married to a man that she did not know that was autistic. She got upset because in her learning and her behavior, somebody said, but cookies are good.
Yeah.
Everybody your hand in your cookie. Good job. So, oh, by the way, if y'all see the pink and red badges on the side, go ahead and you can buy a badge if you like what you're hearing. Make sure you share and also like and subscribe because we will be doing this every Sunday, Jules. Also, let me finish telling my story. The young lady learned in her household that her father always gave her mother flowers. So she couldn't understand why, number one, that man that she married wasn't giving her flowers. And she kept getting upset. Start saying things to him. Start, doing things and saying, about flowers. But him artistically being inclined, and he didn't get diagnosed later on down the line, that he was autistic and he couldn't understand what she was saying.
Wow.
That's deep. But guess what she did? She had to change her behavior and her way of thinking.
Yes. It all begins
But
with
most
you.
of us don't want to do that.
No.
Because guess what? We're sitting there throwing stones, and you don't even know if that man in front of you just had a second grade education.
That's true. And
But
that's where
you're
the
throwing
woman said.
stones.
Yeah.
We ain't even understanding how did they learn this mentally.
That's true.
You're throwing stones. Thank you. We have to make the adjustment. When something is not going right, let me tell y'all people, and if y'all heard from nowhere else, this is Judah telling you. Let me tell you, you have to make the adjustment.
That's true.
Every time that you think something is wrong, if your blood pressure is boiling all the time and your feelings are getting hurt all the time, guess what? You are the common denominator. You need to
That's true.
You need to change.
Mm-hmm.
We have assessed ourselves so much that I'm right all the time. You're not right all the time.
That's true.
You have to step back and start realizing that
Yep.
that's why I ain't got no man. I might be the problem. That's why I ain't got no woman. I might be the problem.
That's true.
But everybody trying to go out there but have you fixed yourself?
I agree with that.
About healing. What does that process look like?
My healing process?
Yes.
Oh God. For LaRhonda. I'm just speaking from LaRhonda.
Rhonda. We're talking about Rhonda. This is all personal conversation.
Yeah, my LaRhonda's perspective. I didn't even know, and I know this may sound crazy to a lot of people. I didn't even know that in most black gym, I had trauma. I remember, as personally, my mom and dad separated when I was like maybe 12, 13 years old. Well, 11 to 12, because, my dad was not such a good man. And he was abusive to my mother. And so I remember one Christmas, he gave me and my brothers $50 to get us some Christmas. And I went and I purchased a $15 Barbie doll. And when we got back home, he was like, what did y'all spend the money on? So I was like, I bought me this doll. But for some reason, I don't know if he was intoxicated. I don't know. He just flipped because I spent $15. I'm going to get to my healing process with this. So I'm going somewhere. So
stay with us.
Yeah. So he just flipped. And that night, he jumped on my mom for allowing me to buy this $15 Barbie doll, right? And so after that, our family broke up. I was maybe 40 when I realized that was trauma to me. Because from that day forward, I felt like I wasn't good enough. I feel like I couldn't make mistakes. I feel like if I made mistakes, it took me back to that. So when I began to heal, I remember when I moved to Oxford, I met a guy, and he kept trying to talk to me, and I didn't know how to talk. It's just like when I felt like someone was getting on to me, I would just shut down, and I would go into myself, and I didn't want to talk. And if people did something to me, they never knew what they did to me. Even if it was a joke, I would shut down and I wouldn't talk to you no more. And one day he was like, Rhonda, can you please just come out your shell? And I was like, what is that? So this is when my healing began to take place. And then I had to realize that I had to go back to my childhood to understand why I did some of the things that I did and why was I the way I was. And so once I went back and realized, then I began to understand so much about me. And I had to be honest, really build a relationship with Christ so he can show me things that other people saw that I didn't see. Because most of the time, people don't see themselves. Right. And people can tell them things and they don't receive it because they don't see it themselves. So that light has to be shined on you for you to see that. And so once that light was shined on me, I cried like a baby because I said, God, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to be full of pride. I don't want to be manipulative. I don't want to be those things. And so when I got a glimpse of who I really was, then I began to do research on how to self-develop and how to become better. So in doing the research, then my healing began to take place. But even to the fact of dealing with the death of my child's father and self-forgiveness, it's like something inside you spiritually bring these things up. And then once God revealed those things to you, it's up to you what you do with them. And sometimes it can come from a person. Sometimes it can come from a movie. Sometimes it can come from a song. Yeah. But some kind of way, he brings that light to you. And then it's up to you to make a decision what you're going to do with your pain. And I didn't want my pain ruling my life. I wanted my pain to become purpose. I wanted everything that I went through to help and benefit someone else. Because if we overcome by what? The blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so if my testimony or my brokenness can help heal someone else, then I want to do that. But my healing process came from wanting more. And people, and then because 10 years ago, I couldn't take constructive criticism. I would just break down. But now I enjoy it because it helps me to see myself in a different light. Now, I don't receive everything that someone says to me because sometimes people say stuff to you because they want to project themselves on you. So you have to examine yourself to see, is this me? And if it's you, then you do what you got to do to change it. But if it isn't you, then you don't receive it. So that's how my healing process began. And it was not easy. The healing is not easy, but it's so important if you want to get to the next level where God wants you to be in life.
And I think what people need to do is, what do you need and what do you and understand what's right for you and what's wrong for you. And most people get that because we're too busy trying to compare what everyone else is doing and looking at their right or wrong, and trying to compare our right and wrong to theirs. Mm-hmm. I always tell people, especially, it's about your personal relationship that you've had with God.
Yes.
It's a personal center. I call it individual educational because what we have before. You got to still remember that these things are important because if you don't make it individual and you're busy trying to look over the fence and try to be in everybody else's things, not minding, you just need to mind your own business during this time. Yeah. During the rest of your life, after you need to mind your own business because it's all too much stuff.
Yeah. Everybody's healing is not going to look the same.
It's not.
Everybody's journey is not the same. And you can't base what someone else went through, how you're going to get through. Because God is going to may take you a totally different way.
Right.
And so there's people that has anxiety real bad. They may not can't take stuff like hardcore like you and I.
Yes.
So we have to speak to people on the level that they can receive it.
Yes.
Everybody can't stand hardcore love. It shuts them down.
Right.
And some people don't do nothing when you speak nice to them. Sometimes you got to rough them up. But like, look, girl. So I mean, so that may be the only way they get it. So you have to do it like someone said, discernment is key.
Yes.
You have to be able to discern someone and where they at in order to get them to understand where they can be. Because like I said, my healing was personal and I did it alone. For most of my journey, my healing was done alone. But sometimes people healing is not alone. Sometimes there's someone with them, to help them through the way. But
again, they said discernment is key. When some people need to be alone to understand themselves, but sometimes people get into relationships for that healing.
Yeah, some people get into relationships.
Supposed to be.
Yeah, and sometimes, women, a lot of women, we're taught that if we don't have a man, that something is wrong with us. If we don't have a partner, something is wrong with us. And we're not taught that singleness is okay. It was in my singleness that I got the greatest blessing, because in my singleness is when my character of who I needed to be as a wife was formed. And so now I'm 44 and I'm like, Lord, thank you that I didn't get married in my 20s and my 30s. Right. But there was no way I would be prepared for that.
Right.
Because I was still in such turmoil with myself inside. Even to the fact that I couldn't even tell myself three I ams about myself, because I felt like I was just built to help other people grow. I feel like I was just helped to build other people, and I never put that in myself because I just felt like I wasn't good enough. And so I had to even learn, Rhonda, you are enough. Rhonda, you are successful. Rhonda, you are these things. But had it not been for someone bringing that information to me, I never would have realized it. And so we have to figure out those things for ourselves before we have a successful relationship, because if we don't, we're going to go in this relationship with a void, like you said, expecting our mate to give us something that they may not even have to give us.
Right.
What if our mate's broken? Two broken people can't heal each other. I'm sorry. Somebody got to be healed.
That broken compound in Houston 23 said your identity relationship teaches you a lesson. You have to decide how to fix those things to be better ongoing. And that is so true. In those I want to say trying relationships, it was some things that I learned in those trying relationships, and that's why I had to move me back, because I didn't want to keep finding trying relationships. I wanted to find the definite one, but then again, that's when you have to remove yourself. Stop emoting somebody else and looking for people to love you. I want to think about that thing I found today. It was like something about people need to learn how to love yourself or something like that. But I can't remember exactly what it said. But it's about, we put so much emphasis in trying to find people to love us.
Mm-hmm.
Learn how to love.
But what does loving yourself look like to people who don't know what it is?
Hey, Father, you got 3 minutes. I accepted it. I didn't see it. Did it come? I accepted it.
Accepted who?
My dad wanted to come in.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to see. I accepted. Or maybe just pushed the wrong button. Okay. So, saying that in there is just a lot of people. But we want to go ahead and wrap this up. And if you love what you're hearing, we'll be on here every Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let them know how they can find you, Rhonda.
I am on Instagram, Jules Mentoring LLC. I'm also on Facebook, LaRonda Glass for my personal, but Jules Mentoring has a Facebook page as well. I have a website, www.julesmentoring.com, and all my information is on there.
Okay, great. Now, would you give them just a couple of words of wisdom before you leave too as well?
Let's words of wisdom. Always trust the process. Even in hard times and we don't understand, know that God knows. God is a healer. He is a deliverer. He is whatever you need. In his word, he says, I am that I am. So whatever you put behind that I am is what he's going to be for you. So never give up, never lose hope, and know that things will get better.
And understand that Sunday Jules or guys will be here every week. We're going to have people on it up. It's not going to always be me and Rhonda talking. We're going to bring you on board, let you say some things too as well, because we need out in the air about how are we living our lives. What is your word? What are some of the things that you should be doing right now? Why are you single? Why are you living? What is going on in the world? Are you captivated by your own situation? What's wrong? Trying to be able to speak in joy. I try to get you up there. And one thing I want to tell people is the Rise Creating was created for people to come on and make sure that we are changing our mindset.
Yes.
Because
changing that narrative.
We're living still in the 70s or the 80s and the 22. How are we going to evolve to make sure we're on the pattern of it, because the world's going to keep on going.
Yes.
So we need to be able to be more enlightened, start looking at your behavior and looking at the things that you need to change. And like they always say, I think Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So if you never change, how are you going to have somebody else?
Right.
That's not right, people.
It begins with you.
It begins with you. It begins with you. Sometimes you step back and view you as you.
Yep.
And that's the most important key. If you have any questions, make sure that you add. We'd like to thank you for our first back. Thank you very much. Also, we want you to come on and invite other people on. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your spouse. Heck, tell everyone. We'll see you on the next Sunday on the Rise, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and also 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This will be dropped in podcast form. You can go to www.rise.live if you want to see it again. And also, we'll also be here on Instagram in case you want to review it again. Okay? Good night. And
Good night.
happy first day of the week.
Thank you.